Happy Sunday, everybody. This is Femi Claudius-Cole again from Chairperson Unity Party. Today, I really want to talk about the splitting of Freetown into two cities. I listened keenly to the Minister of Local Government, where it give the justification where I think the government want give for split the city into two, for split Freetown into two. One, he talks about the complexities, and then he go on for talk about geographical continuity. Strange terminology for use way in justification of this, because if you want for talk about continuity really, then I think enough for talk so much about geographical continuity means what? Freetown is Freetown is Freetown. The districts are all well defined. The populations are known. We don't get a census not long ago. We give the census. We actually say Freetown is less populated than a city like Kenema. That was what your census proved. And that was what your census said. So you're not a splitter because of overpopulation issues. You know they do that. They do that because of the complexities and geographical continuity. In terms of continuity, which would be more relevant? Now, geographical continuity will be more relevant, or historical continuity? Go into the history of how Freetown came about and why Freetown came about, etc., etc. A conversation for another day. It then go on for talk about for efficiency. Now, it really rich coming from this government for talk about efficiency. A government where it's really bogged down by inefficiency more than there are efficiencies. Why I want to say that? If you look at the inefficiencies where Freetown they experience, what's in the cause? What's in the root cause of them? One, buildings are everywhere and anywhere. Access to waterways, the area and the way water for flow, all don't compromise with building or sales of land. Some land and they, usai dirty box been there, usai people in the go dirty, all in place and they all don't sell. But even that, let us not look to just that. Let me look on the building of structures in waterways, areas and way very important for the waterway they flow down to the sea for taking path. Planning permission, not only the government again, then the Ministry of Planning and the Ministry of Lands and Country Planning, now then they give permission. But when you dey plan a city, you dey plan them together with the city council. And at that make, if you look on the books, it say quite clearly, planning permission for be a task devolves to the cities. So each city, all the different city them, forget that authority they for tell you say, yes, you able build naya, no, you can't build naya. And that way they the city they able for monitor how much services for clear dirty, for what how much they get in city rates, all the things then they get for calm in line with how many homes then they in the city. But in we own case, as much as the rules say that government for devolve that task to the councils, government not do one. Now then they do all the planning permission for the entire country. Consequently, a lot of things then go fall through the gaps where they're not able for capture. So if you talk about efficiency and you want to promote efficiency, then the best thing would be devolve tasks for council that are for council onto councils. Let the councils then take care of the things and way. Then suppose any city in the world, when then things and they council they take care of, give them that job, they let them take care of them. And then you can complain if you see signs of inefficiency. And again, then talk about better planning. If there is poor planning, who do you blame? Who that you they blame? You cannot blame the cities. You cannot blame the councils, not all the councils then fault. Planning permission, they come out from one central location where they try for oversee the entire country. But if you give all man in your own task, you will have less problems with planning and planning permission. People are going to bill, side them for bill. Mio latri not going to face your own kitchen not going to face mio latri. And plumber not going to come out inside posting the bill. You not get road for going in house, you not get road for parking car near your house. All that they happen because of poor planning. But the poor planning, not the way you shape the city into two, una still go to do what una they do for the give planning permission or not, as the case may be. So you're not going to solve any problem by splitting the city into two. But the one way streets me pass all, now the one way the minister say, for people for access government. Mr. Minister, how? And you go on for say, for our voices to be heard. How? Me own voice where I try for let heard. Una lock me na CID for almost days. You are not ready to hear to the voice of the people. And if you really want voices to be heard, you don't get nothing for do it for shape the city. That's a wrong excuse. If you want people forget their voice, where the Constitution give it, the right to tell you, look you government in the face and tell you you're wrong. The right for let the people able for look you in a government and say, wait to know now they do so, we not like them, we not feel safe, we don't feel cared for, we don't feel loved in our own country. Do we have that right? Do we? Do we have the right to have our voices heard? And you want tell me say where you split the city into two? Now that's the unagoyariwi. Political voices you don't hear. Opposition voices absolutely una no one yeri. So when will the people find their voice? How will they find their voice to be heard? Then you talk about sanitation. Again, we have the same problem that emanates from the same reason. Una hold the cow, una hold the rope. So how? We ask the question how? We go able to solve them problems then they. But for me, I think to say the most important one is that we have right now Freetown na the one municipality. This month where we did so na the month of July. The money where government forget to the city in July, Freetown City Council has not received it. They not get it. But you talk about efficiency. So if the motivation behind splitting Freetown is for efficiency, then waiting you for do now for empower the local governments. Waiting at the money where they for take for operating in city, you give it to them and you give it to them on time. So waiting you get for split, not for the city, Mr. Government, and the power. Giving the councils the power to operate and the independence within which they can operate. We have a government right now, let us be honest, that cannot pay its bills. The government is struggle for paying bills. We all see that in paying the car powership. Waiting at the cost that will be involved in splitting Freetown into two cities and splitting other cities too, when we cannot afford the one that we are operating in right now. So what will happen? And looking at the statistics presented at the town hall, 80% of the revenue collected from city rates, 80%, the money where they come from city rates, they come out from the west. 20% of the revenue where they come from city rates, they come out from the east. Ladies and gentlemen, Sierra Leoneans, I want to follow me. Freetonians, I want to all follow me. When we split Freetown into two, what thing will they do? Will they get rich Freetown and poor Freetown? Look the statistics. Not waiting for me they predict. Now the statistics will they look. Right now, Western, they provide 80% of the revenue from rates. Eastern, they provide 20% of the revenue from rates. So if you share into two cities, not to reach Freetown, poor Freetown, you don't get. So within whose problem now you they can cause? We have a problem of tribalism. We have a problem of those with and those without. We get several other problems where they come from a division that I would say is man-made. When are we self they cause them? So if we then go into this, will they solve problem or will they create problem? In my humble opinion, I don't know who I get this idea, but I think it's not a clever one. I think this is one for harm Freetown. This is one where probably get political intentions, not intentions for really help the people where reside at this metropolitan where we call Freetown. Boku way there for let we help each other as Freetonians. Splitting Freetown, not to one of them. So I want for make them one day we get this epiphany. We want split Freetown. I want let them do something where me being go advice for let them do from the beginning. A broad spectrum consultation. Then can say one man sense, no to sense. Even if you put 10 aids on 10 day, 10 aid back, no to sense. Do a broad spectrum, do a fact finding, do a proper consultation. And not say consultation are a very weak point of this government. But consult you must. Because the consequences of your actions, not to una one gringe for sufferam. The population now and the population yet unborn, now they all go suffer from this consequence. So I want for big, I want for appeal. Let us go back to the drawing board and do a lot more thinking. And a lot more just swiping our pen and making drastic decisions. In a democracy, every voice first counts. Now you the minister, now you talk say voices to be heard. Can our voices please be heard? I tell you, thank you for all listening.